அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லையே அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லையே அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லையே அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லையே.
You know, when I look back to the early 50s and think about India at that time, when they were getting ready for the first elections, and I'm sure people in Tamil Nadu who had been calling, especially leaders like Periyar, who had called for a separate Dravidistan, a separate state for themselves, and they were holding a national and state elections. So at that time, I'm sure people were looking for some answers somewhere, and by default, it comes through cinema. So interesting that Karunanidhi takes his first plunge into cinema with a film called Parashakti, in which he has this amazing song about crows, you know, and what is your take on that?
This song especially, I think he has used the two qualities of the crow. The crow, what it does is it calls everybody when it finds food, but it doesn't allow anybody to eat. So that's what happens even in Tamil Nadu at that time, or even politics in general, you know. So that's what he says, சாப்பாடு இல்லாம அலையுதுங்க தினம் கூப்பாடு போட்டு மனம் குமுறுதுங்க. So when they don't have food, they call out, they protest, they want a crowd follow everything. But then எச்சிலே தண்ணிலே எரியும் சோற்றுக்கு பிச்சைக்காரர் சண்டை ரோட்டுக்கு. Once they get the food, they start fighting out who gets the best share.
சாப்பாடில்லாம தவிக்குதுங்க ஜனம் கூப்பாடு போட்டு மனம் குமுறுதுங்க உயிர் காப்பாத்த கஞ்சி தண்ணி ஊத்துங்க என்றால் காப்பாட போடுறாங்க பாருங்க உயிர் காப்பாத்த கஞ்சி தண்ணி ஊத்துங்க என்றால் காப்பாட போடுறாங்க பாருங்க அந்த சண்டாளர் எங்கவே தன்னலம் நீங்கவே தாரணி மீதிலே பாடுங்க ராகம் கா 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 எச்சிலை தண்ணிலே எரியும் சோத்துக்கு பிச்சைக்காரர் சண்டை ரோட்டிலே பிச்சைக்காரர் சண்டை ரோட்டிலே.
Also the color of the crow, the black, which I think symbolized more with the Dravidian movement at that time. So I think it was a beautiful layer, multi-layered song, I would say, Ka 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 is.
So you see, I'm also believe that for activism to work out, it needs a face, you know, as you correctly pointed out, that Shivaji Ganeshan becomes that face, you know, to represent the collective voice, you know. And therefore, the discovery of an amazing actor like that was a fantastic boon for Tamil cinema, you know. And so was the arrival at that time of another equally prominent actor called M.G. Ramachandran, you know, who really swept the people's minds, you know, and managed to become a representative of their collective imagination in a way. We have another interesting film in which he makes a kind of counter criticism, you know. What do you think about that song, Ettane Kalam?
Yes, as you rightly said, it really put MGR, the name, into the political foray. I think that's the first ever song, where he really emerges as a person who speaks about the society. In Ettane Kalam Dhan, MGR being projected as, you know, it's a casual walk with the heroine on the horseback, and he just walks across, and the type of things he says in that Thanjai Ramayya Das's lyrics, he says, Satyam Tavarada Uttamar Polave Nadikirar. I mean, he acts, he chooses the right time to steal you, everything bad is happening. And then you're still living in this place, and you're letting him cheat you.
தெருவெங்கும் பள்ளிகள் கட்டுவோம் தெருவெங்கும் பள்ளிகள் கட்டுவோம் கல்வி தெரியாத பேர்களை இல்லாமல் செய்வோம் கல்வி தெரியாத பேர்களை இல்லாமல் செய்வோம் கருத்தாக பல தொழில் பயிலுவோம் கருத்தாக பல தொழில் பயிலுவோம் ஊரில் கஞ்சிக்கில்லை என்ற
talks about the dreams of how he wants the new Tamil Nadu to be, or new India to be. So I feel that is the first step of MGR towards politics.
But what is interesting, as you pointed out, that you see an icon like MGR is not sitting in one place and singing the song. He is moving around. He's on a horseback, sometimes he's on, you know, walking with people. And through that, you also see a larger Tamil landscape, you know. And the message, the activist message, is supposed to spread to a larger place. So in a way, the song and the picturization is distant from the story at that time. it actually becomes a clarion call.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So in the another song, which is so ironic, when you say Manishana Sapadranda, it is so ironic, because when he's singing the song, he has quite a happy face.
Yes, yes.
But the song is very sad. What is your take on that?
Manishana Sapadranda is, I think, the first step towards, well, you have everything. Why you depend on a government itself? That is the inner meaning of that song. He says, Vaanam poliyudhu, bhoomi vilayudhu. It's like almost like a Kattaboman's dialogue. He says, Vaanam poliyudhu, bhoomi vilayudhu. You work and you eat. Why you depend on others?
ஆணவத்துக்கு அடிபணியாதே தம்பி பயலே, எதுக்கும் ராமாஞ்சாமி போட்டு விடாதே தம்பி பயலே, பூனையை புலியாய் எண்ணி விடாதே தம்பி பயலே, பூனையை புலியாய் எண்ணி விடாதே தம்பி பயலே, உன்னை புரிஞ்சிக்காமலே நடுங்காதேடா.
வாழ்ந்தவர் கோடி மறைந்தவர் கோடி, மக்களின் மனதில் நிற்பவர் யார்? மாபெரும் வீரர் மானம் காப்போர் சரித்திரம் தனிலே நிறுத்துகின்ற, அச்சம் என்பது மடமையடா, அஞ்சாம தாவிடர் உடமையடா. I feel this is such an amazing song, because he is talking about the core problem of citizens, and especially when you have a central rule there with a different party, is the sense of fear, And he says that is the fundamental problem. The way to overcome fear is by giving up fear itself,
He says, if you are fearing because the person who is ruling you is big and you don't want to protest, Kanaka Vijayarin Mudidana Yedirthu Kalline Vaitan Seramagan. He says somebody big was shattered to pieces and then he put, and Imaya in Kodidani Lates. He says somebody has planted the flag up in the Himalayas much above. Why are you fearing now?
கோடி மறைந்தவர் கோடி, மக்களின் மனதில் நிற்பவர் யார்? வாழ்ந்தவர் கோடி மறைந்தவர் கோடி, மனதில் நிற்பவர் யார்? மாபெரும் வீரர் மானம் காப்போர் சரித்திரம் தனிலே நிற்கின்றார், அச்சம் என்பது மடமையடா, அஞ்சாமை திராவிடர் உடமை.
The beauty is, you will not have MGR sing it with a stern face or an angry face. He smiles it away. He puts across the advice with so much of happiness.
பாறைமலை கூட நம் எல்லை கோடு, பாலைவனம் என்ற கோடும் நம் நாடு, பாறைமலை கூட நம் எல்லை கோடு, ஆறு நிலம் பாய்ந்து விளையாடும் தோட்டம், ஆறு நிலம் பாய்ந்து விளையாடும் தோட்டம், வீர சமுதாயமே எங்கள் கூட்டம், வீர சமுதாயமே எங்கள் கூட்டம், நாடு அதை நாடு, அதை நாடாவிட்டால் ஏது.
Country, seek your country. Yeah, seek your country. I mean, it is seek for your country, actually. You should say, Nadu Adai Nadu. And this whole song would be written in those lines. In the Charanams, he says, Veera Samudayame Engal, that is our shoulders.
On our shoulders.
Vetri is Engal Kutam. I mean, my crowd is born for success. So many things he keeps saying, innate.
By the time we have come through the 1972 elections and the split of the party, and there's a sense of loss, and yet Tamil cinema does not give up this hope, It says, no, we have to move forward.
The revolution aspects were actually fading away during the time that we are talking about. Somehow it was always the few S.A. Chandrasekhar's films or whatever, which speaks about the government. It was anti-government. It was not anti-society or anti-social illness, nothing. So I think that is why Manida stood apart.
சிறார்கள் வீரரடா, வரலாறுகள் மாறுதடா, பசியால் பல ஏழைகள் சாவது என்பது தேசியமானதடா, இனி தேன் வரும் என்பதும் பால் வரும் என்பதும் தோசியமானதடா, அட சாட்டைகளே இனி தீர்வுகள் என்பது சூசகமானதடா. மனிதா மனிதா இனி உன் விழிகள் சிவந்தால் உலகம் விடியும், விழியில் வழியும் உதிரம் முழுதும் இனியும் சரிதம்.
You don't see it as a factory song. You don't see it as a communist workers union song. Because there are so many things that applies to general society. Pasiyar pala ezhaigal saavadu என்பது தேசியமானதடா. I mean, it's the strongest sentence ever used, I would say. Dying out of hunger is the nationalist policy, he says.
Yes.
So, which is the hard-hitting fact which came way later in 80s,
Right.
where people thought everything was going good.
In a film like Pudhiya Theerpu, when Vijaykanth sings Ethane Ethane Tunbamada, it's staged like a play, and yet it is addressed to the audience.
எத்தனை எத்தனை துன்பம் எங்கே தந்தையர் சிந்திய ரத்தம் எங்கே எத்தனை எத்தனை துன்பம் எங்கே தந்தையர் சிந்திய ரத்தம் எங்கே காசுக்கு விக்கித சட்டம் எங்கே காசுக்கு விக்கித சட்டம் எங்கே கைகட்டி நிக்கித தர்மம் எங்கே இன்னும் விதி இல்லையே ஹோ இன்னும் விதி இல்லையே இன்னும் விதி இல்லையே
Vijaykanth as a political career was too early. I don't think he was himself prepared to enter the political scenario when this film came. So you can see that unpreparedness in his role on the stage, if you see. But fortunately for him, that projected him as a person who's going to be the next MGR or a next person from the silver screen to the political scenario, who's more concerned about the society.
Can we conclude in a way to say that, from the time we saw Parasakti and we come to this film, Pudhiya Theerpu, activism is not going about with a planned manner. You go because you love the people, you love the society, you're concerned about issues, and somehow if you put your heart and soul into it, it becomes activism.
Yes, yes.
Isn't it?
Also, the creators, like all the legendary directors or the poets, I wouldn't even call them lyricists, they are poets. So the poets or all of them believed in their stronger values, the stronger values, social concerns. They believed that cinema was the only medium which would reach them easily to the society, and they used it in the right way.
So in this episode, we spoke about social and political awareness. In the next episode, we will be focusing on the importance given by activists to the language of Tamil itself.